Differences between the Northern and Southern Hemispheres. The Northern and Southern Hemispheres are geographical divisions of the Earth based on the equator. Here are the key differences between them. 1. Location. Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere is located north of the equator, 0 degrees latitude. It includes regions such as North America, Europe, Asia, and parts of Africa. Southern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere is located south of the equator, 0 degrees latitude. It includes regions such as South America, Australia, Antarctica, and the southern parts of Africa. 2. Seasons. Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere experiences seasons opposite to those in the Southern Hemisphere due to the tilt of the Earth's axis. For example, when it is summer in the Northern Hemisphere, June to September, it is winter in the Southern Hemisphere, December to March, and vice versa. Southern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere experiences seasons opposite to those in the Northern Hemisphere. For instance, when it is winter in the Northern Hemisphere, December to March, it is summer in the Southern Hemisphere, June to September, and vice versa. 3. Climate zones. Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere contains diverse climate zones ranging from Arctic climates near the North Pole to tropical climates near the equator. It includes temperate zones, deserts, and various biomes influenced by the distribution of land masses and ocean currents. Southern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere also contains diverse climate zones, including polar climates near the South Pole, tropical climates near the equator, and temperate zones similar to those in the Northern Hemisphere. The distribution of land masses and ocean currents shapes its climate patterns. 4. Landmass distribution. Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere has a larger landmass compared to the Southern Hemisphere, with major continents like North America, Europe, Asia, and parts of Africa contributing to its geographical diversity and human populations. Southern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere has a higher proportion of ocean compared to land, with significant landmasses including South America, Australia, and Antarctica. It also includes islands and archipelagos scattered across the southern latitudes. 5. Astronomical perspective. Northern Hemisphere. Observers in the Northern Hemisphere see different stars and constellations compared to those in the Southern Hemisphere due to the Earth's rotation and position relative to the celestial equator. Southern Hemisphere. Observers in the Southern Hemisphere have views of different stars and constellations compared to those in the Northern Hemisphere. Prominent southern constellations include the Southern Cross and the Magellanic Clouds. 6. Cultural and time zones. Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere is home to a majority of the world's population and includes various cultural, economic, and political centers. It spans multiple time zones, with standard time based on longitudinal divisions. Southern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere has diverse cultures and societies but with a lower population density compared to the Northern Hemisphere. It also spans multiple time zones, with standard time based on longitudinal divisions similar to the Northern Hemisphere. In summary, the Northern and Southern Hemispheres differ in their geographic location relative to the equator, seasonal patterns, climate zones, landmass distribution, astronomical views, cultural diversity, and time zones. These hemispheres play significant roles in shaping global weather patterns, biodiversity, and human activities across the Earth's surface.